we're back with another review of Generation 1 Headmasters figures. And we just got done looking at Hardhead, which is one of the four 1987 Autobot Headmasters. And now we're going to take a look at Skullcruncher, which is one of the three 1987 regular Decepticon Headmasters. And the reason I wanted to take a look at these figures now is because of the Titan Returns line that's coming out here in 2016. And many of the figures are coming after or are modeled after our Generation 1 Headmasters figures. Skullcruncher being one of them. Now, of course, now because of trademark issues, he's renamed as Skull Smasher. But this is the original 1987 figure, Skullcruncher, so we thought we'd take a look at it. You know, one of the things that I love about these figures, and makes them one of my favorite parts of the Generation 1 toy line, is the fact that they're so well built. I mean, this plastic quality is fantastic. Super chunky, super blocky, but what that translates into is super durable. And that's why a lot of these figures are in such good condition these days too. So this is just one of my favorites here, particularly because he's just such a weird Decepticon. He loves to eat Autobots. In fact, his teeth here that you can see molded in here are actually one of his downfalls because he grinds them before he eats or before he attacks any of the Autobots, so they can usually hear him coming. But just look at this detail here in his alt mode. Looks phenomenal in my opinion. Now, if you're looking to pick one of these guys up, you can find them every once in a while on eBay, although they are getting harder and harder to find at a reasonable price. Now this one, just to give you an idea or a point of reference, he was on eBay going for about $75. Now, as I often do, I wrote the seller and asked him if he would be willing to lower his price if I bought it outside of eBay. And you'll find that even though that goes against eBay terms, a lot of sellers will want to do that because they can avoid the fees that way. This seller did go down to $65 straight, and he stayed with eBay. So I still got this on eBay, but for $65 with free shipping, and it was a complete Skullcruncher. So I thought that was a great price. If you look as far as articulation on the alt mode, his paws, if you will, do move up and down. He's got an elbow bend here. You can see that flips up. And he does have shoulder pivots. Now on his rear legs here, he doesn't have too much articulation at all. It's pretty tight. They do snap and have a few different ratcheting points of articulation there. His tail does not move at all in alt mode. Although this is one of the coolest parts, his jaw opens wide and reveals his Headmaster figure Grax. So he sits right in there in his mouth. So I love that part here of Skullcruncher. I think that's fantastic, the way that he can fit right in there, and you can close the canopy all the way. Now, the way that I like to display him in his alt mode, we'll show you here, is actually with his mouth open and with Grax right there inside. So I love to display him that way in his alt mode. But let's show you Skullcruncher here along with some of his other Decepticon buddies. So we've got Mind Wipe here in his alt mode or his bat mode. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. And we've got, not to be forgotten, Weird Wolf, which is one of the coolest of the Decepticon Headmasters in my opinion. I just think he's fantastic. So you can see how they all scale here together in their alt modes. They look pretty good. I'll put them right there. Get them all in the camera. So they look great here, all together, the Decepticon Headmasters. Now, there were 3 of these Headmasters that were originally released, and then there were a couple other Headmasters that came in the same line, along that same timeline here. One last comparison I always like to do with the G1 line is show them compared to Optimus Prime. He's kind of like the standard of the Generation 1, and most of you guys probably have a G1 Optimus Prime. So Here we can see Skullcruncher is a huge Decepticon and could take down any of these Autobots because of his size. So he is fantastic and really fun to play with too. All right, so let's take a look now at Skullcruncher's transformation here, and I'm just going to adjust my camera in order to do that. Okay, so to get into our transformation of Skullcruncher into his bot mode, I'm just going to take out Grax here out of the cockpit, if you will. You can see a nice translucent cockpit, by the way, there. All right, and secondly, his tail actually comes apart and this becomes a weapon. So let's take this off. It's cool how they engineered this too. If you look at the end of the tail, we've got square, round, and then smaller pin there. And on the receiving end, we've got square, round. So you'll never put this upside down. You always go the right way. So that's cool how that works. All right, so now let's take his head and we're going to now fold this back. And we'll now fold his legs. Actually, let's untab these. This reminds me a lot of Generation 1 Grimlock here. We're going to snap those pieces of his tail back. It's a pretty tight snap there. And now we're going to rotate his legs around and down. There we go. And he is backwards. So let's move the entire waist, rotate it around. Notice the cool detail in here too. Once you fold his tail apart, I love that, and the different color too. That's awesome. All right, let's get his arms down. Now I'm going to fold his paws back, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to get his little hands out. I'm just going to push from behind. Get his little hand to go out there. There we go. I got his hand out. There it is right there. And we'll get his other one out by folding back. I'm just going to grab this and rotate it around. So releasing his hands like that is going to allow him to hold on to his weapons. Okay, so there we go. There's no snap here on the back like there was on Hardhead, but we'll just lay that down. Now his legs could go in a couple different orientations, his alligator legs, but just get a little bit more out, okay, of his tail there. He does have some articulation here in his legs, so that's good. But let's get his headmaster on him, and then we'll show you some of the articulation. Here is Grax. He looks pretty good, and he's got you know what, I always forget to fold this down when he's in robot mode. But he's got the same articulation as all of these 1987 Headmasters. I'm not going to move his arms, but those do move. And his legs here too can fold right up. And then we fold this up, and he's got a pretty cool face sculpt. Almost like he's wearing little binoculars or something there. But it looks awesome. It's one of my favorites. And notice all the detail in here. That looks really sweet. So let's put him on Skullcruncher here. Snaps down. And because we did that, now we have his specs that show up. So he's pretty strong. He's got pretty high intelligence, but pretty slow speed here, which is understandable for a crocodile or an alligator here. Notice when I put that on, let's slide it in there again, and there go his specs. I love that about these 1987 figures because they're all separate dials here. Now if we put another Headmaster on him, for example Weird Wolf's Headmaster, we're going to get different specs. Oh, look at that. We've got them all the same now. That's due to this tabbing system on the bottom there. So let's put him back. We'll bring out Grax. Put him back on there. Fold up this panel. And he does have some weapons here. He has, actually, he's got his gun, which is a nicely detailed blaster. We'll put that in his right hand. And then he also has his tail that we took off before. Now, because it does have that 5mm peg there, it tabs in to his hand very nicely. So there we go. So there is Generation 1 Skullcruncher Headmaster. And as I was getting into before, some of the articulation, he does have leg articulation, which is pretty rare on a G1 figure. Notice some of the detailing here on him. Very nice detailing. His arms do articulate the 360 degrees all the way around. And they do have this nice elbow articulation too. So you can see that moving there too. He's got a couple of ratchets on there. No head movement, as with all the Headmasters. But really sweet toy. I love him. Probably, besides Weird Wolf, my favorite of the Decepticon Headmasters. So let's show you Skullcruncher here with some of his Decepticon buddies. Here is Skullcruncher with his Decepticon other Headmasters, Weird Wolf, and we've got Mindwipe right here. He scales pretty well. Actually, he's the tallest of the three of these Headmasters, and he looks great among them. I love him. I love this set here. As far as G1 Optimus goes, he's taller than Optimus 2, right there. So you can see how he scales and there. But overall, I would say probably because of the transformation, the color scheme, the detailing, he is my right up there with Weird Wolf. I don't know which one I like better, but all of these Headmasters are sweet toys, and I hope you like this review. Come on back. We're going to be reviewing all of the Headmaster toys from the original G1 line. This has been Bot Chasers, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
ヘッドマスター